Hey, thanks for watching for starters. And I shot this at my home. I wanted to be comfortable when I do it. These windows, you never know what you're getting into. So to feasibly do this in the field is kind of hard to this quality. Um, a lot of times I do it in the field. I'll have like 9 windows going, but I mean, GoPro, what? I don't know. But moving forward, that's why I did it. I just shot it at the house here, but I hope you guys enjoy the video. Like I said, these people are so cheap that they wouldn't pay me to even, they vaguely even care that I'm doing this. They're like, oh, great. Anyways, thanks. Okay, okay, so this video, I'm just doing it at home. It's rainy outside. You know, I don't like the rain and whatever. We got to get this done. For a customer, they got to have it back for a bathroom window. But it's pretty beat up. Like I said, I'm just gonna, well, it's actually probably the only thing holding it together. Like crappy, whatever somebody put in there. We'll clean it up, we'll make it look nice. All right, so I usually have a brass blade to do this, but I don't want to walk downstairs. But this is the type of stuff you gotta get that out, because if you don't get, okay, sorry, I'm working upside down and backwards here, you guys. If you don't get this stuff off, that's not going to seal to anything. And you're just painting over, and you're just painting over that, and it won't stick. So part of my video is I like to educate the people, and so I'm going to do this window, and I got a lot of areas that are really tight next to that glass. Well, if you use a typical steel knife or picking tool, you run a high risk of breaking that glass. Now this is an old window, so it's not even probably tempered properly. It's probably got bubbles, all different types of stuff. It's got a lot of flaws. Hitting it with a piece of metal in the wrong place is going to make it crack. So you want to use something softer but yet hard enough to remove caulks and, you know, harder things like paint. And, you know, your thumbnail will burn down after a while. So, you know, brass. It's an old glazer's trick, and we don't have glazers anymore, so you guys have forgotten about this. So I just wanted to showcase the brass bars that I keep with me. I keep them in with my files and my other whatever things, because I got to keep them sharp. So, and I got to keep my other tools sharp. So I got a kit bags like this. I go kits with everything. So these are all my razors. So I'll have to get this crap off. I'll need those. Windows are not what people think, because you guys don't maintain them anymore. But old windows need old tricks. Okay, so let's talk a little bit more. So I got a crappy sharp on that. And these, I'm never quite sure if they're 100% brass. They should be soft enough materials, but I'm sure they put some type of a hardener in there because it's just a little too rigid for its whatever. Now it could be just the way that it's malleoled. Like, in other words, they stretched it and it's given it a work harden to the whole piece, but brass still doesn't get like that, and after time it starts to erode when you do that. So I don't think that that's 100% brass. I could be wrong, but I really worry when I put that, and I'm really careful with that. So this pure brass bar, I got to sharpen with that thing because I want to make sure that I get all this goo out, because it's in proper goo. I'm not exactly sure what it is, that's why I'm calling it goo, but it's some type of silicate hybrid, and I've seen this stuff in the past, and it's got to go because you can't paint it and it looks like shit. Whoever did the job, you know. Back to the whole glazers thing. So painters were glazers. I've learned the tips and the tricks throughout time, and yeah, I hope you guys understand. All right, right, so now I got a camera person and everything. So it gets, see, this stuff gets gooey because it never actually dries, and that's part of its problem, which is good for sealant, but it's not good for painting. And you can see I can get really close with the brass, and I also chamfered my edges so that I'm not digging in with any type of a spur or whatever else. But yeah, see, this stuff, it's the only way to do it. You gotta, it's elastomeric and like a Shellac that never dries. And you just, semi-satisfying, you know? But I can get right on the glass because I got brass, and I don't have to worry about it. I know that the brass is softer than the glass, no matter what's in that glass. And they did that. This is all engineered in. You have to understand, they actually knew that somebody someday would be taking a piece of brass to that glass. Thanks. I'm gonna showcase you this too, because look, I can get right on top of there. No, you're fine. And, oh, a little bit of something pretty there. You saw the silver, that scares me. So, yeah, you can get right on top of it. I'm not gonna continue with that, but I just saw some loose stuff. And I'm gonna have to go along like this edge too. So, what do you use? And like I said, I know a lot of you guys have broken windows, so bye. Okay, so this is kind of a technique thing. So I don't sharpen one side of the back side. As a matter of fact, I keep that burred. And I don't know if you guys know what back dragging is, if you would, sweetheart.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, so when you back drag, you want to burr on this edge. So what I do with like that is I purposely push a burr down. Now I'm doing this only one direction because I can only do it one direction. So, but I'm pushing a burr that way. So now I've got a little bit of a burr. Now when I drag this across this, it's gonna cut everything off. And that's that. So that way I save my sharp end that way by not dragging and pushing against hard shit and then dulling it unevenly. So you use a back drag and you sharpen a burr on one side. You can see this is the side that I typically use because there's a bunch of gunk on it. Thanks. So you'll notice like some of what you're seeing, I keep things clean, and especially when you're working with glass, cleanliness is next to godliness, because it just takes one little piece of something that got extra hard, or a piece of sand that some dude put buried underneath here, and that's actually why it flawed in the paint. And what ends up happening is that one piece of silica is actually hard enough to actually stress this glass and crack it. And it'd be like I said, this is old glass. It's not like your new glass. It's not going to take that abuse. So cleanliness when you're working with these things. I buy these little units. I love Org. They're small, whatever. I keep this one at home. No, they're not portable in the sense that they're battery powered, but I love them because it's just easy and they just keep working. I'll go on about vacuum cleaners later because it's a kind of a passion of mine, but you can see that I got most of this cleaned up. We're going to attack this next, and I'll show you guys how to get this old stuff off, especially when you start talking about something like this. You don't want to be taken, once again, I have them. I am not going to use them on that glass. So how do I get that off? Well, your two options are heat or chemicals, and I'm not going to do heat because, once again, what did I tell you guys? There's bubbles and whatever else, and I'll break the glass that way too, but I can use a chemical on that. And I'm going to figure out which chemical is going to work the best on that, but usually my go-to, people, is a little bit of lacquer thinner and a brass knife, and it's going to take me hours to get this off. And I'm doing it for showcase. Typically, they're not going to pay me for this even. This place that I'm working for today, this is me doing the project for you to showcase you guys how to do windows safely and properly without cracking them or blowing them up. And that's what today is. Yeah, he wants it fixed up and cleaned up, and this is a bathroom window, blah, 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 blah. But in the end, it's still got to look good, and I got to go through some of the stuff. He wouldn't have paid me to take this off. He don't give a shit. But I'm going to take this off to showcase you guys how to do that. So a word on scraping. So I'm cleaning this side of the window, right? So once again, no, and why? Because we don't know exactly what it is. So if I got something that's harder, and it's the only reason I got it out. So like if you got like something like this, you know, and I didn't video case it and whatever else because people were on the phone or whatever was going on. But the point is I just take it doesn't matter what you use. This has just got water and a mild cleaner in it. It's not even spray and iron. I typically like that stuff, but I don't have any here right now. So, but that's what I use for cleaning stuff. You got to have a lubricant on the glass. You got to get it clean first, like I said, because there could be a piece of sand, and it's what's going to get you on this old glass. And listen, there's going to be tons of guys out there that are going to say, oh, you could just, well, I'm not teaching that. What I'm teaching is how to do it safely so that you can get through the project without having to buy a piece of glass. I mean, if that was what I was going to do, was refurbish the whole frame and sash, I would remove the whole piece of glass. But that's not what we're doing here. You're going to see that here. I'm not going to remove all of the old glazing. If it's stuck in there that good, for this customer, they're not looking for complete reverberation. They just want it serviceable. So what do? Well, remove the old broken stuff that's not there anymore, and or not tight, and go at it with, you know, poke at each piece. You know, yeah, it's cracked, but grab the right tool. But watch, you can't. The glaze itself is breaking. So if the glaze itself is actually what's breaking, your bond is fine. Reglazing doesn't mean that you completely reglaze everything. I'm not pulling any of the triangles out or the glass things, or I can't remember what their name are right now. I'm not pulling any of that out. I'm going to give this a good cleaning and just prep for paint, because that's what they truly want. But I am going to get the other piece of diffuser on the back, a piece of plastic that's just... So a word on scraping. So I'm cleaning this side of the window, right? So once again, no, and why? Because we don't know exactly what it is. So if I got something that's harder, and it's the only reason I got it out. So like if you got like something like this, you know, and I didn't video case it and whatever else because people were on the phone or whatever was going on. But the point is I just take it doesn't matter what you use. This has just got water and a mild cleaner in it. It's not even spray and iron. I typically like that stuff, but I don't have any here right now. So, but that's what I use for cleaning stuff. You got to have a lubricant on the glass. You got to get it clean first, like I said, because there could be a piece of sand, and it's what's going to get you on this old glass. And listen, there's going to be tons of guys out there that are going to say, oh, you can just, well, I'm not teaching that. What I'm teaching is how to do it safely so that you can get through the project without having to buy a piece of glass. I mean, if that was what I was going to do, was refurbish the whole frame and sash, I would remove the whole piece of glass. But that's not what we're doing here. You're going to see that here. I'm not going to remove all of the old glazing. If it's stuck in there that good, for this customer, they're not looking for complete reverberation. They just want it serviceable. So what do? Well, remove the old broken stuff that's not there anymore, and or not tight, and go at it with the, you know, poke at each piece. You know, yeah, it's cracked, but let me grab the right tool. But watch, you can't. The glaze itself is breaking. So if the glaze itself is actually what's breaking, your bond is fine. Reglazing doesn't mean that you completely reglaze everything. I'm not pulling any of the triangles out or the glass things, or I can't remember what their name are right now. I'm not pulling any of that out. I'm gonna give this a good cleaning and just prep for paint, because that's what they truly want. But I am gonna get the other piece of diffuser on the back, that piece of plastic that's just, God, that just looks horrible. This is sanded to 120. You know, I didn't have to go, you know, as far down as I thought. I just went with some 100 on it, and it, you know, cleaned up most of this stuff. And I shot it with Watertown lacquer. I don't know if I, you know, whatever. So I'm covering it, but I shoot it with the lacquer. And one of the things that I really want to showcase you guys is this. Okay, so the edges of these things, the bottom side's not so much as important, nor is the top. And the windows are actually constructed that way because they know that. So that's why you always have this, your cutoffs on the bottoms and the tops when they manufacture, because you can actually put shit tons of paint here, where you couldn't put it here. So they try to keep that as minimal as possible. These are all probably all wooden pins and whatever else. They're old windows. I think it's a house from the whatever. So just a little bit. So this window actually sits like this in the slot. It's a bathroom window, and then it tips forward. So those are the hinges at the bottom, and that's the latch at the top. So, and then it's got probably some spots up top over here on the other side. Let's see, where they usually they had some type of a, I don't know. There's usually some type of chain mechanism that holds them in place. Ah, there it is. So, okay, so I cleaned this up, and I'm gonna shoot it black because it's not actual brass, it's zinc. So. Yep, now we're drying. We're just gonna let it dry. I got a coat of lacquer on the hinge. I've got clear on the inside. This time it's a acrylic hybrid, and then on the outside the power. So yeah, we're gonna let it dry before I try to do anything else to it. Oh, you guys probably wondered why I actually had this one out, because it does probably have some type of zinc or something that keeps it a little bit harder. Probably wouldn't break the glass, like I explained, but this one keeps that edge, and it keeps it edge always because it's got a harder material in it. So it works really good for pretty much putting in the glaze or whatever, you know, poly that you're putting in there. Don't let people try to tell you that one poly is better than the next poly in senses. I mean, the chemical composite could be exterior, interior, blah, 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 but buying a tub of poly that's like that powerhouse stuff versus buying, its viscosity is probably the difference, and that's about it chemically for the most part. Yeah, some of them might be a little bit more generated to bond to the glass, but in the end, you're gonna find a black glaze. Thanks. Okay, so I had to bail, and I had painted it, and I probably should have shown you the freak out. So you can see that I'm using a white caulk on the inside, or it's a clear caulk on the inside, but it's not the same type. You can see the stuff that I'm painting is not freaking out. So that weird caulk that I had pulled off earlier, there was still some residue at the top up there. You can see it all over. So I'm gonna have to go back and get rid of that too. You can't see it. That's the problem with that silicone stuff. It's so thin. And I did sand. I didn't take the sander up there for obvious reasons, that latch being there and whatever else. It's just tight areas. But that's what will happen if you don't get all the silicone off, and it's really hard. That's why people don't like using it. Painters don't like using it. Now, you know. Okay, so everything's dried up, so I got in there and I sanded it a little bit. Well, no, a little bit, but sand. It's a great way to wet graphic brush, just to let you know. And, you know, I wiped it down. I know I got a puddle there, but it's on purpose. And it's moving forward. Yeah, so we'll see what it looks like dry in a minute or two, and we'll put a coat on it and see if we get any more freaking out. Okay, so I just want to showcase just how clean I get these these edges, because like I said, you don't want it to build up. But I want to point out that you can see the color, and I'm laying 20 on, well, this is clear, but it's a amber colored shellac, and that's lasted this long, and there's a reason, because like I said, it's the type of wood that they picked, and it's time tested type stuff. Like I told you, I don't worry about the bottoms because they should get a really good coat because of this. And that's why they did that. It's not as important on the top and the bottom. And once again, clean, clean. You know, I'm not trying to take away too much because it's engineered right. So I'm gonna put that on there. Okay, so I did this edge, I did the other edge, just pretty much the same thing. It's just, you know, 2 coats, both edges dry super fast. It's shellac, you know what I mean? So you see the rest of the window, and the rest of the window is pretty rough, and it's the outside and whatever else. And it's lasted this long probably because somebody actually, this was probably never painted. It was shellac before it was done anything, because it's such a porous grade wood. Like, here, I don't like doing this, but I will. It's my fingernail, even after being lacquered, just goes into it. It's great wood. It has its purpose because it holds up an exterior durability, but on the same hand, it's very porous. So you have to use something that's very thin that gets very deep. And that's what we're doing. So I'm going to put this on the outside before we paint it. It's outside color, which God knows what it actually is. It's probably some type of a brown. We'll paint it a black, like I said, so people can cry about it later. So we got everything sealed up. The grain in here is just dipped. You can see that it's got some bad splits, but we got most of it all filled in. I got most all of the caulk cut correct. We're just gonna let it dry because we're still pretty sopped, because I really just had to pour it on. And long story short, yeah, we got it all filled. I'll go get some black. You know, it's gonna take a minute to dry. Like I said, it's pretty thick. Okay, boys and girls, here she is. She's all done, all nice and cleaned up. You know, the edges the way that they're supposed to be. You know, you got a little stuff. I'll get that off. But yeah, there she goes. Window. Woo. Okay, boys and girls, here she is. She's all done. All nice and cleaned up. You know, the edges the way they're supposed to be. Window. Alright, I really didn't want to be recorded today and whatever else, but I guess that's just the way they put things out there. So, I hope you guys really enjoyed this one. This was probably the biggest project that I've done so far. I'm going to break these down into shorts eventually. But thanks for watching.
Their love couldn't go no further. Proud of and disgusted by her. Push up a little bruised and battered. Oh Lord, I ain't coming home with you. ice a bit more colder. Dead wife is what I told her. Brass knife sinks into my shoulder. Old babe don't know what I'm gonna do.